So do you want to know a secret that gets my clients beautiful, strong, healthy hair? It's often not about what you're doing, it's about what you stop doing. You see, right now, you have habits that are potentially destroying your chances of getting great hair. And if you can manage to break them, the results are incredible. So here's a list of 9 habits that you need to stop doing, starting with habit number 1. Last week, I had a hair emergency when I was doing Leslie's hair. I was just finishing up her blowout when all of a sudden, there's this terrible smell.
And I thought it was Chris.
It's not me. I looked at her like, is that you? She looks at me like, no, is it you? So I started sniffing around and I realized that it was actually Leslie's flat iron that I had warming up. So I'm like, dude, what have you been doing with that thing? It smells terrible. At first she's like, nothing, you're the only one who uses it on me. But then she remembered like, oh my gosh, I had a friend come over and while we were getting ready the other night, I let her borrow my flat iron. Add that to the list of bad habits.
Habit point 5, being generous with your flat iron.
The problem was her friend didn't have the cleanest hair, so it left behind this like gross layer of buildup on the flat iron, which we then had to clean off. This is a great time to point out that just because your flat iron doesn't smell as terrible as Leslie's does not mean that it's clean.
It wasn't me.
Every time you iron your hair, a little bit of gunk gets stuck on that iron, just like with your hairbrush. And that's using the iron on clean hair. So just imagine what happens when you use your irons to touch up your hair on like day 2 or 3 later on after you wash.
They should not be touching it up on day 2, by the way.
It gets really ugly really quickly, and trust me when I tell you, you do not want to be putting last month's gunk onto your new clean hair when you use that iron. So here's what I recommend you do. Grab a towel, a washcloth, or whatever you want to use. Dip that in some hot water from your sink, and then just run it over the plates of your flat iron like this. Because this is a salon, we also use alcohol here to get it absolutely clean, but you really don't need to do that at home, and it can be kind of weird because it'll take the paint off. This doesn't need to be a big deal. The whole thing shouldn't take more than 30 seconds. Just clean your iron every couple weeks to make sure your flat iron never gets as bad as Leslie's. Habit number 2. All right, so you've heard of a DUI? Well, this is what I call a DWS. Drying, waiting, and then styling.
Can you get locked up for this one?
You should be able to. I have a friend who has one of these like Turby twist things, and I hate that she uses it because she will wear that thing for hours. She'll put her hair up and then start working and then start cooking and start doing, she'll go through half her day while her hair is drying in this thing. And that is a major problem because every second your hair is drying, it's gonna look worse and worse and worse by the time you finally get around to styling it. Back when we first opened the salon, I had to 9 years ago. Among my other stuff, I had to cover the front desk. So I would be doing Leslie's hair and then I would have to stop and run to front desk to check somebody out or answer a phone call or something like that. And every time that happened, Leslie would get upset because her hair never came out as good when we had to pause like that. And that was only for like 5 to 10 minutes at most. I know a lot of you think it's convenient to put your hair up and then go do other stuff. And I see other ones of you out there who are like, oh, I'm halfway through my blow dry. It's too hot. My hands are tired. I'm just gonna take a break. But I can promise you it is not going to come out nearly as well if you do that. So after you wash your hair in the shower, do not give your hair time to start drying unevenly and doing its own Stranger Things impression. As you're walking around with your hair up thinking, oh, letting it dry will save me time, hear my voice in your head telling you it's gonna look bad if you wait. Lock that style in as soon as possible so you don't destroy your hair for that wash cycle and so you don't get arrested for a DWS by me. Habit number 3. This habit is a silent killer. It will destroy your hair without warning. You'll think everything's fine, and the next second you'll be like, holy crap, what happened to my hair? This happened to a new client that came in a couple months ago complaining about her hair. We'll call her Dorothy.
Dorothy from Oz?
She goes to our local university right down the road here, and when she got to college, she made the decision to take better care of her hair.
I didn't know there was a degree in that.
Blowout Professor offers degrees in all hair classes. She bought a bunch of new products and learned some new styling techniques so she would be more confident and outgoing so she could meet more people at college. But after her first year, her hair was dry, breaking off, and even shorter than when she started all this, which made her want to hide in her dorm room all the time. So when she came in, obviously we had to fix this. So I'm like, tell me about these products you bought. what's your hair routine look like? She told me about her shampoo, her conditioner, her hairspray, her heat protectant, and as soon as she said her heat protectant, I was like, stop. Wait a second. She had been using heat on her hair, thinking that it was protected, but it was actually a fake heat protectant, and that's what had ruined her hair. Fake heat protectants are products that really do other things, but they put heat protection on the label, hoping that you'll see it and be like, oh, this is such a score. I'll buy this one so I don't have to buy a separate heat protectant. But that's just a nasty trick. Someone in the marketing department realized that they can hit their bonus if they find a way to put heat protection on that label because it'll sell more. So they go and throw in like 1% heat protectant that doesn't actually do anything at all. Then they collect that bonus, never even considering for a second the misleading poor Dorothy here will have her sitting in my salon crying 6 months later because she trusted that product to protect her hair when it didn't at all. You have to know there are only 2 types of real heat protectants. If you blow dry, you need to protect with a blow dry cream. If you use an iron, you need to protect with a thermal protectant. And if you do both, you need both. The craziest thing is that was really the only flaw in her entire hair routine. It's really frustrating because so many of you that I meet are just one product away from having the hair of your dreams. That's why I made my recommended product list where you can find the perfect products for your exact hair type. I'm even developing my own products, so please don't sleep on this. Don't let 1 or 2 products throw off your entire hair routine. Habit number 4. So blow dry brushes have become really common, and that's an amazing thing I'm grateful for. But there's one thing everyone needs to know before you use that blow dry brush. On social media, you'll see videos where a girl with perfect hair, with perfect makeup, and a selfie light is using a blow dry brush to get this amazing volume blowout. The whole thing looks like it's Hollywood. It looks great.
It does. It looks so good.
Yeah, but everything isn't what it seems. And a teenager in my neighborhood watched one of those videos and then tried to recreate the whole look at home, which is perfectly reasonable, right?
Yes.
The only problem was she didn't realize these videos aren't real. They have all these cuts that make it seem like you know what's happening, but really they don't show how to get that finished look. The secret is usually in these videos, the hair is already styled before they even start filming. So when you watch the video, all you're seeing is the finished look where they brush it a little bit and then let it fall back down perfectly and make it seem like they did their hair. So this poor girl in my neighborhood fried her hair trying to recreate this look. Why did she fry her hair? Because the #1 rule of blow drying is that you need the hair to be wet to blow dry it. It is impossible to dry something that is already dry. That is actually called cooking. You're cooking your hair when you blow dry hair. You might have heard a lot of people say like, oh, this blow dry brush, it's too hot. I need something that's not as hot. It is not too hot. I promise you. You just need water in your hair to buffer that heat. Otherwise, it's gonna get really hot really fast. Before you know it, it's gonna be fried, damaged, and cooked. So please, don't cook your hair. Make sure it's at least damp before you blow dry so you don't destroy it. Habit number 5. All right, so let me get a little bit controversial here. Hair extensions really do look as amazing as you think they do. They're totally worth it if you can afford them. But the thing is, there are good extensions and there are bad extensions. Let me tell you a quick story about one of my stylist friends who we'll call Juliet. For as long as I've known Juliet, she always had this amazing, long, full hair because of her extensions. The only problem was she did them herself to save money. And the only type that she knew how to do was the bad type of extensions.
Poor Julie.
Julie, why you do this, Julie?
Why you do this?
Why? Anyway, the bad kind of extensions are tape-ins. They're called tape-ins because the way they stay in is literally by being taped to your real hair. The problem with them is that they get really sticky. Everything's fine at first, but imagine having tape sitting in your hair for weeks and weeks and weeks through all those washes, and the adhesive starts like leaking and spreading and going all over your hair. And then when it's time to take those extensions out, the tape is still stuck to your real hair on your head. So you're trying to take them out, but you're ripping some of that real hair out. And after that, you have less of your real hair than when you started. And the longer you continue to keep putting in and taking out these extensions, the more real hair you're losing by ripping it out. Eventually, it gets to a point where you really can't even take them out because it would be so shocking to show up to work one day where like you used to have extensions down to here, and now you have even less hair than back before you put those extensions in the first place.
It's kind of like when you get your nails done. If you stop getting your nails done, then they look really bad.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So deep breath, it does not have to be like that. There are much better ways to do extensions. Remember how I also said there were good extensions?
Yes, we've been waiting to hear about those.
They're called beaded wefts or hand-tied extensions. They're put in like this without any sticky tape at all, so everything stays clean and they don't rip any of your hair out. So please, if you're thinking about extensions, avoid tape-ins at all costs because they will destroy your hair. Habit number 6. So when I first met Leslie, she was always struggling to grow her hair out. She'd been working with another stylist, but it never got past her shoulders.
Way to throw her under the bus.
No names. No matter what they did, they couldn't make any progress because she was accidentally destroying her hair pretty much on a daily basis.
I don't even know if it was an accident.
At this point. Leslie naturally has this curly, kinky hair, but she likes it straight and smooth, so she blow dry it. But she used a cheap blow dryer that didn't get her hair very straight or very smooth at all, which meant she had to go and battle it with a flat iron afterwards to get it to look the way she wanted.
But I won those battles.
Mission accomplished.
Lost the war, but won those battles.
And because she used a bad blow dryer, she would wake up the next day with frizzy hair again, which she would have to flat iron all over again.
Every day I'm hustling.
And if she was going out that night,
And I really flat ironed it.
again. Those were some really dark days for Leslie. But as you can see now, she has nice long hair. And that's because once we opened up the salon and met each other, we changed her entire hair routine. First, we started using an amazing blow dryer, the Hairy Josh, that got her hair super smooth, so she barely ever had to use a flat iron on it. She also never had to touch it up every day in the morning because it was still smooth, which allowed Leslie to go from using heat 7 times a week to just 1 time a week, really just by changing the blow dryer. Easy.
Way more than 7 times a week. And now once every 2 weeks.
I wasn't gonna say it. Most people can't go that long between washes, but hair commandment number 6, thou shalt go at least 3 days before using heat again. So if you use heat on a Monday, you are not allowed to use heat on Tuesday or Wednesday. Thursday will be the soonest that you'll be able to use heat safely. I just want to point out that there's so many of you who are doing almost everything right, but just one little thing like this is holding you back. It can be as small as a blow dryer. So if you blow dry often, please splurge on a good one. It's going to save you so much time and make your hair look so much better. Please stop destroying your hair. Habit number 7. Something I get asked all the time is, what's the best shampoo for me? But the way they're asking themselves the question destroys their chances of ever having good hair. For example, yesterday someone said, hey, I have brown, dry hair. What's the best shampoo for me? And that's completely the wrong way of looking at it because brown is not a hair type. Long is not a hair type. Curly is not a hair type. And dry is not a hair type. You can literally change any of those things if you like. You can go from brown to blonde. You can go from long to short. You can go from curly to straight, and you can go from dry to fully moisturized. These are all completely temporary. You will want to use the exact same shampoo and the exact same conditioner regardless of any of them. The only thing affecting your choice of shampoo and conditioner should be your hair type. And a lot of people misunderstand this. Your hair type is the way your hair responds to products. Fine hair needs very light products or else it gets weighed down. It does not matter what color it is. Coarse hair can use heavier, more hydrating products and be totally fine. You will never say to yourself like, oh, I cut my hair, I need a short hair shampoo now. And if you have fine hair, it doesn't matter if that fine hair is brown or auburn or blonde. Literally none of that matters. It doesn't matter if it's long or short. Should still be the same light hair products. And if you think about it, it makes total sense. I'm not gonna recommend one shampoo to you for shoulder length hair, and then you have to come back to me like, oh, I have longer than shoulder length hair. I need a different doesn't work like that. Trust me, I would benefit a lot from telling you that you need all these different products every time your hair gets a different color or a different length or anything. My salon would make much more money, but that's absolutely not true, and I'm not gonna make hair seem really complicated and like you need all these products when you really don't. It's easy. Hair type is all that matters. You can take a hair type quiz on my recommended product list in the description of this video. At the end of the quiz, it'll show you your hair type and the right products for your hair type that I've been testing and using on my clients for years. It really is that easy. So please stop destroying your hair and your wallet by choosing all the wrong products. Do it like this instead. Habit number 8. This habit freaks a ton of people out because they never even thought about how gross it was to do it. I'm gonna use this Reddit post because I wanna give you guys a really good visual example of this because I can't really do that with my clients. I'm not gonna tell on them like that. Anyway, in this post, she's asking for help with her fine, stringy hair. She's like, I currently use Dove shampoo for thin hair and it's a 10 fine leave-in conditioner, 8 sprays, that's it. All right, so we know that she's buying her products from the grocery store. That's really not a great start, but let's keep going. Amika Charcoal Scalp Cleanser every other month. And by the way, if you didn't know, Amika shampoos and conditioners are really, really waxy. They leave a ton of buildup on your hair, even if you think the bottle's pretty. I see you out there. She showers every other day, double shampoos with Batiste dry shampoo in between. That's the most she can stretch it without looking wet. And she has different sets of brushes and combs for clean versus dirty hair. She also cleans her pillowcase weekly, and this picture is 7 hours after a shower. All right, so we got a lot going on here. And you may be looking at this picture like, Chris, my hair isn't that bad. I don't have anything to learn from this. But 90% of you who just said that are wrong. And yes, this is an extreme example here, but almost every woman has some degree of this like hair clumping problem, especially if you're getting your products from Target. What this is gross oil and product buildup all over her hair. She's using a Dove shampoo, which like all drugstore and Target brands, just coat your hair in buildup instead of actually cleansing it. She could literally wash her hair with that Dove shampoo 100 times and it would not get rid of that buildup. It would just keep putting more on. Clean, healthy hair does not stick to itself. Every hair, when it's clean, will move independently by itself. So if you notice any of your hair sticking together, even if it's just a couple hairs, you have this buildup problem. The way to solve this is actually really easy. All you have to do is to upgrade to a professional shampoo that actually gets rid of the oil and buildup. This is kind of like that transition where you go from washing your face with bar soap in middle school, which
in high school or college, dial bar soap wonders,
to growing up and learning that you actually need a face wash to wash your face. This is the same thing, just for hair. If she went to my recommended product list, got her shampoo soulmate for her hair type, she could literally get rid of this on the very first wash. And then going forward, instead of putting all that effort into her pillowcase and maintaining 2 different sets of brushes and combs and giving up color and giving up styling and all that stuff, she should just use the Trinity routine with the products that I recommend, and she'll spend half the amount of time on her hair and it'll look 10 times as good. Work harder, not smart.
yeah?
Work smarter, not harder. Do not let drugstore buildup destroy your hair. Habit number 9. I showed this next habit to one of my neighbors, and every time I see her, she still like covers her face like, I can't believe I was doing that. So back when I was trying to get the perfect formula for my first shampoo, I did a ridiculous amount of testing. Leslie and I would knock on her neighbor's doors, and instead of asking for sugar, we'd be like, hey, can you use this shampoo and conditioner on one side and another shampoo and conditioner on the other side?
You'd be surprised how many people were open to that.
No, they're all about it. They're like, tell me. One time I had a neighbor doing this test for me and I came back on day 3 to check in and see how things were going. Believe it or not, you can tell a lot by feeling hair with your fingers. So I asked her like, hey, can I feel your hair?
Creepy.
She's like, sure. So I run my fingers through her hair and I was like, whoa, this side is terrible, Leslie, feel this thing. And my neighbor was immediately like, wait, what do you mean? How do you know what's wrong with that side? I told her that you can tell how much buildup is on the hair by rubbing it together. If it has this mushy feeling to it, then that's buildup. Ideally, when you rub your hair together with your fingers, it should feel hard and scratchy against itself. That's what hair feels like. It shouldn't be like cushioned or springy like moss or something like that. should be hard. The problem is a lot of people have never actually felt the real texture of their hair. They walk around with it completely covered in buildup for their entire life, thinking that that spongy feeling is a normal thing. It's not until a lot of my clients finally get to try a professional shampoo that matches their hair type where they're like, oh my gosh, this is what my hair really feels like. It's crucial that your hair is able to breathe. It needs you to remove that buildup so it doesn't block other products from doing their job. It's also gonna stay cleaner longer and give you that fresh, bouncy feeling instead of this heavy, stiff, stringy look. A lot of the time, stylists will recommend to you that you need to use a clarifying shampoo once a month to get rid of that buildup.
Because they want you to buy 2 shampoos.
But that's actually terrible advice, and you know it yourself if you just think about it. You don't want your hair to be clean just once a month. You want your hair to be clean on every single wash. You shouldn't have to spend that entire month waiting to finally get your hair clean again. That's a terrible way of doing it.
It's like taking a shower and putting lotion on instead of body wash.
Who would do that at the end of a shower? Does he? That being said, clarifying shampoos are awesome on your first wash. You should always be washing twice. If you want to use a clarifying shampoo on your first wash, that'll make sure you get it clean every single time. So check your hair, see if it's mushy, and if it's mushy, please get yourself a real shampoo. Get it from my recommended product list. If you need a products to fix any of your bad habits, check out my recommended product list. It's right below in the description. It even has a hair type quiz to help you match products to your hair type. Have a good one, guys.